Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing a 2020 launch. This is the white gold variant of the Lange Sohne Odysseus Datamatic. The timepiece is a sports watch, in this instance on a lovely calfskin strap in white gold, 40.5 millimeters in diameter. It is 11.4 millimeters thick, and if we just measure the case, lug to lug, it's 47.3 millimeters, but you're going to wear it with this strap and the conforming end pieces that are attached to it, which gives the watch a total distance of 52.3 millimeters across the wrist. Now we throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and you can see it is quite broadly stanced for a 40.5 millimeter watch. It's thin though, with a domed bezel, so it'll slide underneath the dress cuff. While it has a broad wingspan, it is quite close cropped to the wrist. I could recommend it for a wrist as small as 15 centimeters circumference again, because it is so broad across the wrist. The timepiece has a nice weight to it, and a handsome strap. As you can see, calfskin with a sort of suede nubuck-like texture. It's bolstered to give it some thickness, and it has a contrasting stitch profile that is folded. You could think it's sheer cut because it is sheer, but it's not actually cut along its side. The strap folds over the edge. And then we have calfskin on the bottom in black, or to be precise, nickel anthracite. We have a buckle here that's a smart piece. You can see it is faceted with polishing and satination. And then there is a clever design to it. As you can see, the bridge is elevated above the prongs on the side, which allows the strap to sit inside the buckle rather than stacking up beneath it when it's on the wrist, so it reduces the thickness. There's also this little retaining bar that prevents the strap from getting stuck on a small wrist. So if you're like me and you're going to use the smallest hole, or you're going to punch a smaller hole still, you know that a tightly strapped watch can sometimes get stuck on the wrist. Well, with this little retaining bar, that's not a problem. Now the strap, as you can see, is an a Lange Sohne factory strap in outstanding condition. You can see that well. No crimping, no gouging. Taking a quick look at the lug profile, we do have this little white gold insert. It's a conforming end profile that helps to create a more integrated look, as though the watch were on a bracelet, even though it is on a strap. You can see that the timepiece features a sort of quick release system where you apply pressure to this little divot on the bottom, and it's spring-loaded. It releases the bar that holds the strap to the case. The case in white gold, and it would probably be correct to say this is gray gold, so it's white all the way through. It is not the typical Lange case, clearly related to the typical Lange case, but especially with the profiles of the pushers for the Datamatic system. You can see one of them adjusts the day, one of them adjusts the date. This is a case that's unique to the Odysseus, which sets it apart from even grand complications in the Lange catalog, which tend to have the same case shape and lug profile as the basic Saxonias and 1815s. Here we have the lugs, which are broken out from the case band, primarily satin finished, but with a polished bevel. There's a section on the mid case on the 9 o'clock side that sticks out with polished facets and a satin profile. And then you can see a Lange crown and the unique profiles of the pusher adjusters that are used to change the calendar system. The crown is a screw down. The water resistance is 120 meters. Unlike most Lange watches, this dial is made of brass, but the dial furniture, the frames for the date, the hands, as well as the indices, all of those are 18-karat white gold. We have a couple of different patterns on the dial. There's a sunray or coining that features on the hour track. Outboard, there's a satination on a rejo that features the minutes where you can read them in increments, and every 5 minutes there's an Arabic numeral. You will note that there is a little bit, just a little bit of color, as the 60 at the index at the top of the dial is in red. And then we have a sunken subregister with that sunray motif again for the constant seconds. We'll do a loom shot here. And you can see the watch really is quite well loomed. The timepiece also has a nice dial depth to it, and in good taste, Lange used dial discs for the day and the date that are the same color as the dial. Flip the watch over and we can see a descendant of the Lange caliber 086. This is the L155. Some changes have been made. First, fun facts. As you can see, SUG is the manufacturer of the case. Lange does not make its own cases. SUG is the case maker owned by Zinn. So you will see that same SUG stamp on, among other things, my EZM 1.1. So that's where this case comes from. And if you look on the buckle, you can see there's a B, Brogioli. It is a buckle and bracelet maker down in the Italian part of Switzerland, down in Ticino. That's where the buckles and bracelets for these watches come from. Taking a quick look now once more at the movement, you can see changes have been made compared to the 086. The big changes are a higher beat rate. This is the first Lange to operate at 28,800 vibrations per hour, which makes it less susceptible to timing deviation due to shock. This decision was made for the sake of chronometry in a sports watch. The watch also includes a full balance bridge rather than the single-sided balance cock of the 086, and that is once again in service of resistance to shock. The movement is an automatic winder. You can see it has a platinum winding mass for maximum polar moment. Most watches feature some variety of gold or even base tungsten, but here we get platinum. We have a nickel anthracite coating on the rotor, which is held to the platinum mass by fired blued screws. The watch has a 50-hour power reserve. It does have a stop seconds function, and of course, double quickset for the two displays on the Datamatic dial. The movement is adjusted in 5 positions, which is the same as a chronometer. The watch is all about precision and durability. The timepiece, of course, is beautifully made, as we have that nickel anthracite coating on the multiply finished rotor. And then we have both black polished screws, which you can see, for example, on the regulator mechanism, and blued screws. The watch includes both fired and black polished screws. We have bridges in German silver, a nickel copper zinc alloy with the zinc and the nickel giving it corrosion resistance, and then the copper giving it that golden hue it has. You can also see that the bevels on the edge of the bridges are beautifully broad, rounded, and mirrored. We have freehand engraving on the balance bridge and engine-turned perlage on the base plate. That freehand engraving is done with a burin. No tools other than hand tools are used for that component. You can see there's satination on the wheels, there's black polish on the regulator mechanism, and the balance is free-sprung. All the adjustment is done with variable inertia bolts on the balance itself, so it can be very precisely adjusted, and then it won't change its timing due to shock or concussion on the wrist. And as you can see, there are 2 different sizes of engine turning. There's one that's on the bridge, and then if you look on the base plate adjacent to it, there's a larger engine turning. We also have one golden chaton fixed by screws, another nod to the pocket watch era of watchmaking, during which a Lange Sohne was ascendant in the 19th century and early 20th century in Saxony in East Germany. It is a beautifully finished and handsome and unconventional movement by Lange standards that pivots on 31 jewels. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details of this Odysseus Datamatic.